Please remain standing and turn to the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Class, attention. Right face.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Class, left face. Seats.
Thank you. You may be seated. My name is Rick Mossman. I'm the commander and director of this academy. And as we get started here, I would first like to introduce our executive dean of the workforce development, Miss Amy Purcell, who's going to just give us a welcome from the college here. And I might just mention Ms. Purcell is over this academy as the dean of workforce development. She has just newly arrived here. She's only been here about 2 weeks, I think. So, what?
4 weeks.
All yours.
Hi everyone, it's really nice to see so many family and friends here today. Graduations are such an important transition. So I'm really pleased that so many of you are here, and I hope you plan to stay for the reception after the ceremony. And hopefully this evening you have some fun plans with your graduate to recognize them for this amazing accomplishment. As Rick said, my name is Amy. I've been with the college about 4 weeks. Not new to workforce development, however, and I just want to welcome you all to Skagit Valley College. If you haven't been here before, it is a lovely, lovely day to be here. You get a sense of what we do at the college. I saw the Burlington Fire Department's here doing some practice. We have a number of different workforce development programs here, and the Park Ranger Academy is just one of those. This program is just one of 6 around the country. And I always think it's important to remember that our Park Ranger program is really the full name is Park Ranger Law Enforcement Academy. Park Rangers provide such an important service to all of us who visit our national or local parks. And they're really, as the name says, law enforcement officers for the park system. So they receive that extra training. And I'm just so proud of all of our graduates here today, and just want to welcome you all to the college. Thanks.
All right. As I mentioned, I'm the commander and director of this academy. I have been here about 5 years. I retired from the National Park Service about 11 years ago after 35 years working in parks from Alaska to Washington, D.C. Greatest career in the world, and it was wonderful. So I'm very proud to be here to help teach our new generation of Rangers and make sure they get started on the right foot. I would like to welcome and thank all the faculty and staff members of Skagit Valley College here today, the academy instructors that are here. We have a few of them I see. The role players, other agency personnel, family, friends, special guests, other students, and of course the 15 students we are honoring today. I would like all the adjunct instructors, and I might add, I don't do all the teaching in this academy. We have, I have 35 adjunct instructors that teach for the academy, from local, state, federal, law enforcement agencies, and others. Sometimes it's like herding cats, but we won't go there. No, they're all great, great instructors, but I would like all the adjunct instructors, the evaluators, role players, and any others who helped these cadets on their journey the last 4 months to please stand up and take a bow. Each of you has made a difference in the lives of these cadets. Our role players put in over 750 hours of volunteer time. We do give them free pizza every day they volunteer, but that's about all they get. I do want to make one shout out here to Miles Williams and Cindy Pruden, who are over here. Wave or stand, I don't care. They made every one of our days we needed role players, scenarios, etc. They came to every single one this fall, and last fall they were at most every year. So I appreciate I can always count on you guys, and that makes a big difference when I'm struggling to get role players to fill all their scenarios. I really appreciate it. Thank you. But I have all our veterans, both in the audience and cadets. Please stand. Military veterans. I also want to give a big thank you to North Cascades National Park, Washington State Parks, and the 3 local county parks around here, and Everett City Parks, and the Northwest Technical College, without whose help from their rangers and other staff members, we could not make this academy run. I would also like to thank the members of our law enforcement and public service community here today. If you were in uniform, I know if you are not in uniform, but thank you for your service, and thank you for coming to honoring these cadets. And I personally want to thank and give a big round of applause to my assistant, the boss, Jenny Knezick. Please stand, Jenny. Who helps handle a lot of the administrative duties and logistics, and without her, none of us would be here today. So thank you very much, Jenny. I especially want to pay tribute to the spouses, children, parents, relatives, significant others, partners, supervisors, and friends who unselfishly put their lives and relationships on hold so their graduating recruit could participate in this training. To each of you, my personal gratitude for making that sacrifice, and I thank you for traveling from far and wide to be here today. We train these cadets, but they arrived here as good people. They were raised right, and your family and friends raised them to be good people. You deserve congratulations for them sitting here right now. So thank you. For me, one of the biggest challenges here at this academy is to keep all the running parts going. The 720 hours of this academy are laid out in a very specific order with prerequisites for each class. So if we have any kind of snow day or some problem, it puts us behind and we have to catch up, meaning we have to come in at night or on weekends or whatever. And it is hard to keep all the moving parts going. Students and staff have to remain constantly flexible and ready to change, literally overnight sometimes, as we change things to make sure we stay on track. This academy is only one of 6 in the country certified by the National Park Service and accredited by the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center, shortly known as FLETC, which is the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center in Georgia, where all federal law enforcement from every agency in the country, federal agency, goes for their training, except the FBI, they're special, they have their own academy. But everybody else goes there, and they certify this academy. And so these students are here to be certified both the National Park Service by graduating, and also many of the state parks throughout the country recognize these 6 academies for their state park rangers, including the state of Washington, and many local, county, and city parks here in Washington. The current Mount Vernon City Park Ranger is a graduate of this academy, and a number of the county parks around here, Everett City Parks, are graduates from this academy. When you go around the state and the 125 plus state parks in the state of Washington, probably 95% of the state park rangers ones that you see out there came through this academy at some point. I would like to say it's been an honor and a privilege to spend the last 17 weeks with these future park rangers. For those of you not familiar, this academy is tough. You know, I hear comments constantly from other students, staff, and faculty about how hard you work and the conditions you work in. It rains here. A former cadet was here about a few weeks ago acting as a role player in one of our scenarios. She graduated this academy 2 years ago. She went to work for a law enforcement agency here in Washington, and then I think last spring she had to go to the state academy for the Washington State Academy. And she said the state academy was, and I quote, a breeze compared to this academy. So I think we're doing something right. For those of you visiting here again for the first time, let me just say it's not like a normal college class where a semester is spread over 15 weeks and you have class maybe 3 or 4 hours a day. These students were up working on their own physical fitness morning or evening every day running and lifting weights. Then in the classroom at 7:45 until 5 or 6 at night, Monday through Friday, many Sundays, and a few Saturdays, all in the space of about 18 weeks for 30 college credits. What a lot of Americans don't realize is how hard it is to become a federal law enforcement officer. I would argue that the federal standards for a law enforcement officer, physically, medically, and the practical and academic testing standards are some of the highest of any law enforcement agencies in the country. These students go through the same length of time as the basic law enforcement training down at FLETC. We are held to the same standard, the same curriculum, and just meeting the medical, physical, and integrity standards to be accepted to this academy is commendable and something to be proud of. During this academy, these students take 6 FLETC written tests, other written tests and quizzes, practical scenario tests, practical labs, and physical tests. These are federal test requirements which they must pass. We as a college have no control over those federal standards. As an example, let's take the written test. The instructors and I do not see those tests beforehand. They are delivered from FLETC in Georgia by computer to the students. So instructors can't do something easy like teach to the test. They have to teach all the material in that study guide for that particular subject. And the students have to learn all that because nobody knows what the questions are going to be on that test. These students have done nothing more than eat, sleep, study, and be in class for the last 18 weeks. And they will have memories, especially one week toward the end of the control tactics block in which they were tested one day by individually running a gauntlet and basically fighting for their life in hand-to-hand combat against three aggressors. Then they were zapped by a taser and took the 5-second ride, like warriors. The next day they were pepper sprayed, and when I mean they get pepper sprayed, the instructor takes a can of pepper spray and empties about half of them right in their face. And before they get pepper sprayed, they have to run about a quarter mile. And then they get pepper sprayed. And then they have to do 30 burpees. And then they have to stand there. And that pepper spray starts burning. And then they have to fight off an attacker. And then they have to call dispatch. And they have to arrest and handcuff the bad guy. And they have to call in they have to try to read the driver's license of this bad guy they've just arrested to dispatch after being pepper sprayed. And I can tell you, having done it more than once myself, it is not easy. It is not easy. And again, these guys all did it like warriors. We started this academy August 21st with 18 cadets. These 15 stuck it out, made sacrifices, studied hard, and helped each other. They formed a team and are here today, and I salute each of you for that. Remember, we work as a team, we talk well with each other, we never look down at each other, so you guys stay in contact with each other. And if you ever need a long conversation, you know where to find me. These students came here to learn how to be park rangers, park law enforcement rangers. Law enforcement is an honorable occupation. There is an essay written by a retired Lieutenant David Grossman called On Sheep, Wolves, and Sheepdogs. The gist of the essay is that our society is made up of mostly sheep with a few wolves that prey on the sheep. It is the sheepdog that stands ready to protect the sheep from the wolves. You cadets have chosen to be those sheepdogs. About 1,000 years ago, a Templar knight was involved in defending a castle. After the battle, a young boy asked him if killing was a noble thing. As the knight looked at the blood and carnage around him, he replied, "No, killing is not a noble thing. But a life fought for others who cannot fight for themselves is a life worth living. That is a noble thing." These cadets have chosen to fight for those who can't fight for themselves, be they grizzly bears, trees, mountains, or park visitors. These students not only want to be just law enforcement officers, they want to serve in the national and state parks of America as park rangers. One of the most incredible occupations in the world. Now I admit I'm a bit biased about that, as that had always been my childhood dream, and I got to live my dream. National parks rangers have been around in some form for over 150 years, since the creation of the first national park in the world, Yellowstone. In 1880, a man by the name of Harry Yount was hired in the newly created Yellowstone National Park as a gamekeeper to stop poaching, and after only 14 months, he resigned. He resigned because he said, "I can't do it by myself." In his resignation letter, he wrote, "A small but reliable police force is the only practical way to stop the wanton slaughter of wildlife, forests from fire, and enforcement of other laws." Based on his suggestion, Congress in 1886 sent in the United States Cavalry to run the parks, temporarily until a civilian police force could take over. And in case you didn't know, that's why when you go to a national park and you see a park ranger uniform, it's based on the old U.S. Cavalry uniform in the 1880s and 1890s. In 1907, Army General S.B.M. Young, who was the acting superintendent of Yellowstone National Park, was asked by President Theodore Roosevelt to devise a plan for civilian guard force to take over the Army duties in Yellowstone National Park and other parks. Young wrote his report to the President in which he stated, and ladies, please forgive the gender bias in 1907, Young said, quote, "It is quite obvious that any man assigned to duty in any capacity in the park should be by natural inclination interested in the park and its purposes. In addition, every man should be an experienced woodsman, a speedy traveler on skis, an expert tracker, and a good packer. He should be of good temperament, fearless, and independent character, and handy with his rifle and pistol to enable him to find and overcome the wily trapper and the poacher. He should be well informed in the history of the park and thoroughly cognizant of all the curiosities and points of interest therein. Furthermore, a visiting tourist should always be favored by an intelligent and courteous answer on any subject pertaining to the park from any park guard." End of quote. I dare say that every trait and skill mentioned in that 1907 report is still accurate, still necessary, and still utilized by park rangers today. A few years later, in 1916, the National Park Service was created as a government agency. The mission statement it was created under in Congress has never changed. The service, and I quote, "The service thus established shall promote and regulate the use of federal areas known as national parks, national monuments, and reservations, which purpose is to conserve the scenery and the natural and historic objects and the wildlife therein, and to provide for the enjoyment of the same in such manner and by such means as will leave them unimpaired for the enjoyment of all future generations." Now it is notable that not all rangers are law enforcement rangers. Some are interpreters who give the talks and walks and so forth and interpret the park to the people. Some are biologists and resource managers in charge of managing the resources. And some are administrators managing the overall operation of the park. All these jobs as park rangers are just as important in protecting the parks for the future. It is this ranger's opinion, after a lifetime of commitment, that there is no nobler job than that of protecting the natural and historic areas we are entrusted to guard, preserve, and to protect the people that visit them. I'm proud of each of you for taking that step. I would like now to introduce Mr. William Overby. Mr. Overby was the commander of this academy before I was, and he has a few words of wisdom he would like to say, and I would just like to say that Mr. Overby is kind of my right-hand guy that I always turn to and say, hey, what do you think about this? Because he has years and years of experience. Before he was the commander of this academy, he was the state park chief ranger at Deception Pass State Park. Mr. Overby.
Good afternoon, family and friends. As Commander Mossman pointed out, it's my privilege to have served this community through the Park Ranger Law Enforcement Academy at Skagit Valley College since 1990. Before I speak to the graduates today, I would like to extend to you my sincere thanks for your support of your graduating cadets over the past 18 weeks. Your support for their dreams and their passion for fulfilling today's achievement is exceeded only by your patience while tending to the home life in their absence. And for that, I'm sure your graduating cadet is thankful. I also wish to congratulate Commander Mossman and his program assistant, Jennifer Knezek, and my peer instructional staff members for the excellent outcome that's evidenced by the graduation of these cadets today. One further thank you is extended to the Skagit Valley College staff and the very many volunteer role players involved in the production of the Academy. As a bit of a historical perspective, I've had supportive careers in the field of parks and recreation literally since the age of 10, where I picked up litter in a privately owned park for $10 a day. I found I liked it outside. It was great. I could hear birds singing, I could breathe fresh air, and it was all I wanted to do, literally, with my life. The experience therein and those after built toward a significant career for me, which includes 32 years as a park ranger for the State Parks and Recreation Commission, and 20 years as the chair and director of the public safety academies here at the college. I'm currently working as a private consultant, assisting agencies and organizations in furthering their public safety or community service missions. Now, I tell you all this, it's not to reinforce the fact that I'm an old fat bald guy. You can see that just by looking up here. But rather that I would say that my opinion is emphasized that service to the community and interest in public safety and resources stewardship are very fine things. Educational inquiry needs to continue. Don't stop learning. It's an order. They ought to be lifelong endeavors for all. Today is Saturday, December 16th, 2023, and following what's been a past practice of mine since social media came into my life, I posted a congratulatory post to the cadets at just before 8 o'clock this morning. In the first 2 hours, there were more likes and supportive comments coming through than I could imagine, more than one a minute. These messages came from people representing all walks of life, not just park rangers. Rather, all segments of society were represented. A cross-section of demographics of race, age, gender, and well beyond. Especially those you will serve in the future. Some carried messages like, "Congratulations to all," and "They did a great job," and "Strong work," and "Be safe." However, the one that was relevant for this discussion with you this afternoon is from a good friend in public safety who messaged me privately and said, "We need these people now more than ever." The person who wrote that entry is right. The value of parks, recreation, leisure pursuits, and resource protection in our lives is something that we should all agree on. The fact that you have managed to persevere through separation from home, family, and friends, the aftermath of a worldwide pandemic, and calls for defunding of the police, you've kept your needle pointing forward, which is very admirable and a very good thing. It demonstrates your resilience, your passion, your stewardship ethic, and with a prospect for good things for the world in the future. Now, the value proposition in all of this may not necessarily be through financial wealth. It's more likely to come to you in your satisfaction of seeing the wonder and the excitement in the eyes of a small child on their first visit or camping trip, or helping a visitor truly understand the implications of your service in terms of protection of the resources for future generations, or in how your community views your service to the things in life that they hold dearest, recreational opportunities for rest, recovery, and experience. To do what I'm suggesting, I need to ask you today, and the audience as well, for you to consider for one moment a very simple, very straightforward question. Now, this isn't a trick question. It's not a flexi question. You don't need to worry about reading comprehension for this one, any of you. And it's not something that's been conjured up in a role-playing exercise. We're all done with that. It's an essential question, however. And it's whether you stay in the discipline of park protection or policing, or should you go another direction. The question is, what inspires you? Another way to put it is, I want you to do what motivates you. Question does not require you to regurgitate an answer at the moment. Rather, it'd be far better for you to give this question careful consideration, seek the counsel of your friends and family, and explore some possibilities that might be out there. Not everyone who graduates from this stage today or previously ultimately chooses to become a park ranger. Some may try it out for a season or two before they decide to go on a different path. We have examples of this in our audience today. Successful in that park employment became a springboard for greater future opportunities. And then some will travel. Some will find their future spouses. They'll raise families and progress up the rungs of public service. It's all good. And at some time or another, they will all end up in a park. Others have chosen to move on to unrelated careers or return to school. But the common denominators here are the knowledge, skills, abilities, and fitness that achieved during this slice of your life will help you contribute to being an active, aware, and productive citizen in your community. I encourage you, I implore you to do it with fairness, understanding, and equity in mind. We are in complex and interesting times in these United States, and I would ask you to do something very important. You have met new friends, peers, instructors, volunteers, and members of the Skagit community. I strongly urge you to stay in touch and keep these friends that you've made the last 18 weeks in your heart. With the many social platforms and transportation modalities available to us today, it's far simpler to do this now than it may have been, 40 years ago. Do it for fun, but do it also for the broader human experience and for your mental health. So, to recap the lessons of the last 18 weeks. Number one, safety is your number one priority, always. Number two, expect the unexpected. 3, maintain your situational awareness and think while you're doing so. 4, your badge is a symbol of public trust and confidence. Wear it as such and never betray or tarnish it. Number 5, de-escalation is your friend. And that can happen at home too. 6, divide and conquer when it's appropriate. 7, operate in honest, ethical, professional, and transparent ways to build public trust. Because for you not to act in that way diminishes what your instructors have taught you, and it really wouldn't be respectful of Commander Mossman. Number 8, watch the palm of the hands and direct your subject's movements. 9, take the higher road by showing respect to suspects, victims, and witnesses, even when their actions and their words would cause you to believe they don't deserve it. And finally, learn what inspires you and act on it. I've told you many times that I'm very genuinely interested in you, how you learn, how you grow, and how everything flourishes for you in the future. I personally am a much better person for having worked with you. In your training, I've learned much from you in the process, seeing the world through your eyes. I wish you nothing but the very best in terms of health, safety, satisfaction, and service in your careers ahead. You have earned my professional respect, by sitting on the stage today, and I congratulate you on your achievement of this important life milestone. Finally, capturing the spirit of the end of your graduation, I have chosen the words of the immortal philosopher. Wow, that's great. The immortal philosopher, Billy Joe Armstrong, the lead singer for Green Day, who said, "I hope you had the time of your life." Please stand up, be safe in all you do.
When I run this academy, I divide the class up into 2 districts, and I pick a district ranger for that, and they kind of act as the lead for that district to help the instructors when they need to hand out paper, get vehicles, whatever they have to do. I appoint the first 2, and the district for the Albright district this year was Taylor Black, and that I picked back on the first week. And the district ranger for the Mather group was Evan Osborne. And then halfway through the academy, I let the districts vote on if they want to change, or if either the district rangers I appointed wanted to let somebody else do it. And the Mather group, they voted a new district ranger, Edgar Larios. And so Mr. Larios and Mr. Black both are going to get up and give a few reflections on their experience and their classmates' experience here at the academy. Who's first?
Howdy, folks. Just apologize in advance. I'm not a public speaker, so this might go really fast or I might fail. So, we have a couple EMRs and EMTs over here. So, like the commander said, my name's Taylor Black. He asked me to be the Albright District Ranger back in the first week, and I was a little hesitant. Didn't feel like I was worthy of it. Didn't know if I was able to even lead my peers, much less strangers I've never met before. But I accepted it, and I was pretty excited. And honestly, I just have to thank you guys, because I didn't know what I was doing. But I winged it, full sent, and they helped me learn, progress, become a better man. And it wasn't just about giving orders or getting cars ready or doing push-ups. It was learning how to be empathetic and patient and be supportive no matter what. Personal feelings aside, we're all here to graduate. We're all here to do what we need to do. And week 1, day 1, I was 20 minutes late. And to a room full of strangers. And we come from all kinds of different walks of life. And it was pretty cool to see in a small classroom. There was a barista, a bartender, college students, a competitive archer, a camp counselor. That's just what Stephen Granger did before he came. But other than that, we had our resident fisherman, our old man, travelers, medics, EMTs, and it's just really cool that we all came from different parts of the country to this one spot. There's a few of us Southerners. There's a couple people from Washington, Texas, Wyoming, so it was really cool that everyone came to this one spot and we all met. It was really sweet. And we all found that despite our differences in our backgrounds and what we believed in, where we grew up and who raised us, we all shared the same exact passions. And that was for the outdoors and protecting our resources and for law enforcement and most of all protecting each other and our friends. So, yeah, we all shared that. We all wanted to be a part of something that was bigger than us. Speaking of things that inspire us, and I wrote this before Mr. Ogilvy wrote his speech, so this came from me. I just want to share the thing that drives me to be a first responder. It's a quick story, I won't bore you to death, but it's a veteran story. Sorry, guys. First Lieutenant Travis Mannion from the United States Marine Corps gave his life and was awarded the Silver Star, Bronze Star with Valor for saving his entire squad from sniper fire. He ran back in over and over and over again and got all his guys out. He started a foundation, or his family started a foundation, and his biggest quote, the thing that everybody knew him for, was Just a simple thing. If not me, then who? And when you hear words like that, it can be interpreted in different ways. My mentor brought that to my attention when I was real young in the Navy, and I didn't know what it meant at the time. I was 21, 22. I didn't really care. But as I got older, I started to realize what drove me was, if I don't do it, who's going to do it? And I'd rather do it myself than have someone have to get their hands dirty, so to speak. So I just implore you guys to think on that. If you don't do it, who's going to do it? So I live my life by that quote. I know it seems a little cringy, but man, it makes me tear up. It's great stuff. So the last thing I want to just touch on is I've been through a couple academies in my life. I went through, obviously the Navy, but EMT and paramedic. And I've never been closer to a team than this. Even if we were split, Mather and Albright, when we got back together, we were just one big old friend group. Everybody knew everybody. We all hung out together after school or on the weekends. And yeah, we cried together, we got tased together, we got OC together, death by PowerPoint together. Some of us stood in the rain at EVOC in the middle of freezing cold wind and rain, watching Stephen do burnouts in his EVOC car. But most importantly, we won together. We're here today together. It wasn't anybody who did it by themselves. We did it together.
Yeah.
Thank you, Taylor. Now we'll hear from Andrew Lewis.
Right. Hello, everybody. My name is Garlarios. I'm the district ranger for the Mather district. I'm a terrible public speaker, so unlike Taylor, he's good. He lied. He's not actually terrible. So try to keep this short. So I wrote this for our cadets, and so I'll just start now. Cadets of Skagit Valley College, today marks the commencement of our journey into safeguarding what some consider America's greatest resource, its national parks. As we embark into this noble profession, we must remember that our duties go far beyond enforcing laws, putting out fires, providing medical attention, tranquilizing bears, or whatever nature tasks us with that day. We have a commitment to protect the people from the park from the people, and the people from the people. From the Grand Canyon's intricate and colorful landscapes to Yellowstone's breathtaking geysers, from as far south as the tropical oasis of San Juan, Puerto Rico, to as far north as the sub-zero temperatures of Gates of Arctic National Park, and everything in between, we are the guardians of these lands, sworn to protect its untamed beauty and those who seek solace in it. May we never forget to serve with integrity, resilience, and compassion, to honor those before us, and to set the example to those who come after us. Uphold the laws that shield our ecosystems, but do so with a kind and understanding heart, recognizing that education can be as powerful as enforcement. When wearing that golden bison badge on your chest, wear it with pride, but let humility guide your actions. May your journey be marked by a deep respect for the natural world, an unwavering dedication to duty, and a passion for the preservation of our planet's most precious heritage. Congratulations, Skagit Valley Park Ranger Cadets, class number 40. It's been an honor serving as your district ranger. May our paths cross once more.
Thank you, guys. Those speeches were great. Better than I expected. But I do appreciate the hard work you guys did, and I haven't done this before with my district rangers, but I'm going to now. I'm each going to give you guys a park ranger coin. These are put out every year by a mint. These can only be bought by park rangers or retired park rangers. They're not sold to the public or anybody else. So they're pretty special. So, David? Mr. Osborne, you'll get one later, but we'll explain that later. All right. Did you guys have something you wanted to do?
Oh, that's right. Sorry. So, we wanted to present the commander with the gift. So, as a thank you to here, and it says our Park Ranger Law Enforcement Academy, Fall 2023. We all put a little bit of our personalities on there, and we want to present you with this. If you'd like to open it.
Open it now?
Yeah.
Look, it's a little pretty.
Yeah, a little bit.
We love nature around here.
Yeah, we love nature. We chose this gift because we thought Commander Mossman best represented this character. It's Dr. Seuss's The Lorax. He even kind
That's great. All right. Now we get to some of the fun parts here. What we're going to do now is we're going to talk about, I told the students at the beginning of the academy that we have awards that will be given out at the end, having to do with some of the labs we do during the course, firearms, driving, things like that. And so we're going to talk about those. We'll start with firearms. And so what I'm going to ask you guys to do is, if I call your name, just stand up and remain standing. Okay? If your name gets called a second time, just raise your hand. That's you. Okay? So people know who you are. We're going to start with in firearms. In firearms, they have to shoot pistol, obviously, that most law enforcement officers carry. They have to do a regular pistol course, and they get 2 chances to qualify. A perfect score is 30. And then later they have to do reduced light, where the range is made dark. There may be some blue and red lights, like a police car going off. They may have a flashlight, but they're basically shooting in the dark and trying to follow where the first hit hits by the tracer spark of the bullet and so forth. Then they have to do the patrol rifle, which is a long rifle that many law enforcement officers carry. And then they also have to do shotgun. And so we have, we want to honor, and you will have in your packets when you pick those up later, there'll be certificates if you have one of those awards. We didn't have any of the 2 qualification rounds on a pistol. The pistol, the highest you can score is 30. They shoot 30 bullets, and they have to be within a certain area on target. We didn't have anybody shoot 30-30. However, our best pistol score was 2 individuals, Zachary Jones, Zach, and Edgar Larios. We both shot a 58 out of 60 between the 2 qualification rounds. We didn't have any perfect reduced light pistol scores. However, our best reduced light pistol score was Edgar Larios, again with a 58 out of 60. Very good, Edgar. We had 2 perfect patrol rifle scores of 60 out of 60, and that was Hunter Berry and Edgar Larios. And obviously those are the 2 best patrol rifle scores. All right, on the shotgun, they shoot both pellets or buckshot, thank you. Mine just slipped right there. And they shoot 1-ounce slugs. And they have, you know, and I might mention, this just isn't standing there shooting at a target. They're timed, they have to reload, they have to do all kinds of stuff when they're doing this, from the 3-yard line back to the 25-yard line on the pistol. The rifle, they shoot from 100 yards and so forth. So anyway, but on the shotgun, we had, right here, 8 perfect scores of 94 out of 94. Hunter Chapman. Zach Jones. Anthony Larios. Evan Osborne. Santino Dwyer. Daniel Landau. Benjamin Ondal. And obviously with, those are also the best patrol score, shotgun scores, if they're all perfect. Now, the last award is the highest overall firearms score combined. And I have to explain something here. So, let me back up. So we had one individual here who probably would have had the highest. However, his last round of rifle, he shot the wrong target. My understanding is 30 shots were probably on the target, but they don't count because in the official counting, we had to DQ or disqualify that round. So those 30 didn't count for him because he shot at the wrong target, even though they were all on target. And that was Edgar Larry. Edgar, I can add that for you later. But the best all-around highest firearm score was Evan Osborne with a 263 out of 274. I'll tell you what, I'll have you guys sit down and then we'll go through the, next we're going to talk about the EWOC. Let me find the right thing here. Okay. So one of the things they have to do is EVOC, which is Emergency Vehicle Operations, and it's a lot of times it's, people think that's a fun thing. They can't wait to, live their childhood dream of driving a police car as fast as they can and things like that. Actually, they don't get that high of speeds because they have a very intricate course. And they have to make 180-degree turns, and they have to make very quick turns and stop very abruptly and do all kinds of things. So they never actually achieve real high speeds. And they have to do that course that's lined with cones in various configurations, and they have a time limit they have to do that in. And just to give you some information, and I would like to point out, and I want to make a shout out to Kevin McFadden. Wave, Kevin. He is our lead driver instructor. And he's the one that does this and does a fantastic job with the emergency vehicle operations. And just the information on the EVOC course. The vehicle dynamics course is 1.4 miles long with a total of 15 cone patterns to navigate. There are a total of 232 cones. These consist of 12-inch and 18-inch cones as well as 38-inch delineators. Time must be completed under 2 minutes and 45 seconds with no more than 5 errors, meaning hitting a cone. So you can't hit more than 5 cones or you're disqualified. The vehicle placement course is approximately 1/10 mile long and consists of 5 patterns that have to be navigated both forward and reverse. The course consists of approximately 60 cones and 60 36-inch delineators. The time limit is under 2 minutes and 15 seconds, and there can be no cones struck. And this means you're backing your car through these cones backwards, and you can't touch a cone. And you have to do it in a set time limit. It is very hard to do. All these guys passed all that, which is great. And I also want to add that Mr. McFadden likes to, and he made up these awards for a couple of them they're going to get. How appropriate. And he always comes up with the top gun who completes it the fastest and cleanest. And one thing I have to mention is the Albright District did not have a top gun, and there's a reason for it, and it wasn't the cadets' fault. The 2.5 days, the class is split. Half the class is down doing rifle and shotgun, the other half is up doing emergency vehicles. And the 2.5 days, Albright had the driving portion. It poured down rain for 2.5 days. So they were driving through torrential rain on the course all day and the dark trying to do this. They all qualified, but we didn't get a top gun for that one on time. Is that correct? Did I say that right? Okay. All right. The top gun for the Mather District was Evan Osborne with 2 minutes and 33.4 seconds. You can say. The top gun for the placement course was Hunter Chapman with a time of 1 minute 47 and 0.1 seconds. The top gun for the EVOC course was Evan Osborne, 2 minutes 33.4 seconds. And the overall top gun was Hunter Chapman with 2 minutes 27.22 seconds. You can pick up these after we're But I also want to point out that we did have a total of 5 people had clean runs, meaning they didn't knock a single cone over. And I did want to shout out to them too. Hunter Chapman, Dane Hall, Harry Dow, Edgar Marios. All right. And then we have our PEB. That stands for Physical Efficiency Battery. And this is a federal requirement. And the Physical Efficiency Battery consists of 5 different tests of your physical fitness. 2 of them don't count in the scoring, but the 3 that do are bench press, an agility run, and a 1.5 mile run. And the bench press is really tough for tall, skinny guys like I was when I started out too. I was a runner, I wasn't a weightlifter. I hated weightlifting personally. But to give you some idea, anybody, a male under 20, and it's gender and age adjusted in the federal government. And for a male, as an example, under the age of 25, they have to bench press 90% of their body weight. That's a lot. That's a lot. It gets a little easier as you get older, but that's a lot of weight. And then they have to do the agility run, and we do that in the gymnasium down here on a nice hardwood floor when we can borrow the gymnasium. And basically what it is, they have to start in a kind of a push-up position, jump up, run 10 yards, run back 10 yards, run back through 4 cones, back through those 4 cones, back up 10 yards, and back to the finish. That's a total of 60 yards. And they have to run through these cones. They can't touch or knock over a cone as they do it. And to give you some idea, for both male and female, well, again, it's age and gender adjusted, but for young males, they have to do that in under 16 or 17 seconds, I believe. And that's very fast. You got to really run. And I did not write down the fastest, but we had an incredible, who did that? Barry, what'd you do again?
14, 17.
14, 17. I've never known anybody that's done it in under 15 seconds before, so that's pretty amazing. So, and then what we do with this PEB, the second day of class, I make them do the PEB. And they have been told when they first apply, or if they look at the website of the college, that you've got to be ready to do this. You can't wait till you get to the academy to start training. You need to be running and weightlifting long before you come to the academy. And we send out a letter to them months ahead of time. I send out a letter about 30 days ahead of time. I hope you're running a lot of miles now, and I hope you're weightlifting, and this and that and so forth. And then they arrive at the academy. And the second day we put them through the PEB. And we post that, and we say, here's where you are, and it's colored, whether they failed with red or yellow, they're very close. They have to be in what's the 25 percentile, and that is based on all law enforcement officers that have gone through the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center over the last 60 years. So there's a standard, and they have to be above that standard. And then about halfway through the academy, we do the PEB again to see how much they've improved, or gotten worse perhaps. And then we do the final PEB. We just did it a week ago yesterday, I believe. And that's the final one they have to pass to also pass this academy. So anyway, I always like to point out who had the best overall score. And I take all those scores and I average them out. And I have to say that I'm going to make a couple points here because we had a little issue a week ago Friday with the bench press. And to this day, I don't know if it was the phase of the moon or sunspots or whatever, but most everybody's bench press went down a little bit on the last PEB, and I can't explain it. We can't figure it out. But in any case, I think some of the scores may have changed a little from what they did first to the third PEB. But we'll go ahead. The best male score overall was Mr. Sam Landau. He had an overall score of 84.6%. I might point out on his second PEB, mid-course, he actually did 94%. And his 1.5 miles was 8 minutes and 39 seconds, and if you want some perspective, that's an average of under 6 minutes a mile. That's really good. Our high score for female was Bethany Ward with 88%. And I want to point out that Louie Winnig, there's Louie down there, she actually on her second PEB, she did 94%, which is the highest between the three, but we only count the last one for award purposes. But I did want to point that out, Louie, because I know that bench press messed you up there on that third one. So anyway, I also want to point out that I like to point out from the first to the last one, who improved the most over the academy. And the most improved male was Santino Dwyer. He increased his score by 10% over the 18 weeks. And the most improved female was Bethany Ward, who increased hers by 14.7%. And obviously our best overall score, both male and female, was Bethany Ward. And then we just have 2 more awards. And one's called the Partner Award, and one's called the Chiefs or Commander's Award. I think of as Chief Ranger versus Commander, but you can call it either one. Yeah, thanks. Go ahead and sit down. The first one's a Partner Award, and I asked the class to write down the name of which classmate they would want as their partner as a park ranger. No parameters or anything like that. Who do you think would be the most fun to ride a horse with? Who do you think would be the most fun to sit around the campfire and tell jokes? Who would you want backing you up on a car stop? You know, however you want to do it, who do you want as your partner? And it was really interesting, because this is the first time I've had this many. We have 15 students. I had 13 names nominated. Which tells me that, you know, everybody in this class, somebody wants to be their partner, which I think is really neat. However, we did have 2 people that each had 2 votes. So they are both won our partner award, and that is Evan Osborne and Jim Hall. Thanks. And actually, before I get to that, before I get to the Chiefs Award, I do want to talk about the academic awards. So as I mentioned, there are 6 written tests they have to take that they're scored on. And that's their primary score for academic achievement. And then there's also all these labs they do, practical exams and things like that. Many of them are just pass-fail, but some of them do have scores attached to them. So we have an award for both the highest average written test score and also the highest overall achievement, meaning everything combined. Our highest average written test score was Miss Haley Dow with a score average of 96.3. And our highest overall achievement, including everything, was Evan Osborne with 97.3. And the last award, the Chiefs Award, which I get to decide on, and I'll be very honest, of the last 6 academies, I don't think, I've only given it out 3 times. I don't give it out every single class unless somebody truly deserves it. And I decided this person, when you look at the various achievements in a lot of respects, well, I'll just tell you, it's Evan Osborne. And the reason is, I picked him as a district ranger because I could tell right off the bat from just looking at his application and how people were interacting in class the first week. You know, I made him a district ranger. And he did a great job. And he's a natural leader. And then, but he's also kind of quiet. He's one of those kind of guys that kind of sits in the back, helps everybody else, makes sure things get done, but is just not quite as vocal or whatever. And, you know, and he wanted to allow, he encouraged his district, hey, you know, vote for somebody else, let somebody else be district ranger. We had the vote midway through. And we had Edgar got voted in as the new district ranger. But Mr. Osborne has always been there. He was, as I just mentioned, he was the highest overall achievement award, the highest overall firearms award, and a number of other things. And I just felt that, Evan, you deserve the Chiefs Award for this class. Congratulations. And what I have for the partner award and and we can pick these up, you guys can pick these up later. I have a coin for each of you, a Ranger coin, and also the book, National Park Ranger, an American Icon, which is probably the best book written about what National Park Rangers are, do, and their history and so forth. All right, what do we do now? All right, oh, you guys get some certificates, don't you? Okay, so if I can have my helpers up here. Now is the time they get their certificates. What they're going to do is they're going to come through in alphabetical order here. They're going to get their certificate from Ms. Knezik, and they're going to, Ms. Purcell and Mr. Overby are going to pin them with an honorary badge on their collar. And they're going to turn and face the audience, so if you want to get a nice picture of your graduate, you know, feel free to come up here and take a picture of them. And one thing I forgot to mention is the first day of class, they were given this little metal disc, unfinished, unpolished, just a little round metal disc. And I told them, this is you right now. All 18 of you at the time when we started are equals. I don't care if you're veterans, if you're the smartest person in the world, if you have a PhD, right now you're all equals. You're all starting afresh. This is you. Unpolished, unfinished, and you hold on to this. You have it with you, everything you do except your new physical fitness stuff. You always keep this with you to remind you that you're unpolished, unfinished, and you're learning. And instructors would ask them, show me your device. And they'd have to pull it out from their pocket or their shoe or wherever. And if they didn't have that device, they got to do push-ups. And the number varied. But in any case, they now will turn that into me. So you guys take the place right in the middle there. And I do not have, hold on just a second, let me grab some. Okay, Mr. Hunter Berry. Mr. Taylor Black.
Okay, I'm supposed to be calling out the names, Commander.
Okay, you want to do it? Okay, fine. She's the boss. There's your name.
Hunter Chapman. Santino Dwyer. Haley Dowell. Stephen Granger. Dane Hall. Zachary Jones. Samuel Landau. Edgar Larios. Faith Memelo Herrera. Benjamin Omdahl. Evan Osborne. Bethany Ward. Louisa Wayne.
Go ahead, take your seats.
Now I'd like to present Mr. Overby again, who is going to do an honorary oath of office.
All right, give that soul stretch. In medieval times, a coat of arms was worn by knights, identifying the knight as a protector in his allegiance to justice, chivalry, and his royal leadership. The knight would be sworn in and asked to, quote unquote, protect the weak, the defenseless, helpless, and fight for the general welfare of all, end quote. Now, times have changed, but in this aspect of law enforcement, certain traditions remain. An oath is a solemn pledge someone makes when they sincerely intend to do what they say. Soon, rather than a shield or coat of arms, the graduates in front of you will be wearing a badge, which is a symbol of public trust and confidence. Graduates, I implore you to recite this oath of honor in front of your family, your friends, your mentors, and your academy instructors today to punctuate the importance of treating all individuals with dignity and respect and to ensure the preservation of human life in our society. Whether your individual choice is made to remain in a career of law enforcement or public service, or if you seek a different path, your moral obligation to decency and civility demands adherence to the oath you're about to take. Graduates, would you please stand and come to order? Please raise your right hand. I do pledge that on my honor I will never betray my integrity, my character, nor the public trust. I will treat all individuals with dignity and respect and ensure that my actions are dedicated to ensuring the safety of my community and the preservation of human life. I will always have the courage to hold myself and others accountable for our actions. I will always maintain the highest ethical standards and uphold the values of my community and the agency I serve. You may lower your hands and come to parade rest. Please accept my congratulations on this special day and welcome to the profession of the protection of special places, the treasures on this earth. Commander Mossman, class is yours.
Just a few closing thoughts for you, class. As you go through your career, there will be days where you will ask yourself if the job you're doing is making a difference. We don't often see tangible results. And throughout our careers, that makes us wonder if we are making a difference. Yes, maybe we put some new picnic tables out, finished an annual report. We patrolled a lot of roads, rivers, trails, by cars and boats and feet. But have we really made a difference? A long-term difference? I know I sometimes had those thoughts. Well, I'm here to tell you that you will make a difference. In 1936, a young man who was an Eagle Scout and a student at the University of Michigan went to Yellowstone National Park to be a park ranger for the summer. Throughout his life, and even when that young man, Gerald Ford, became the 38th president of the United States, he said that summer in Yellowstone was the best summer of his life and the best job he ever had. During his tenure as president, he signed bills to add 18 new parks to the National Park Service, including Klondike Gold Rush National Park here in Washington. No doubt part of his love for the parks came for that summer in Yellowstone. Former President Barack Obama, who recently started hosting a TV show about national parks around the world, loves parks. He talks fondly of his mother taking him to Yosemite, Grand Canyon, and Yellowstone on summer vacations. And I don't think there is any reason to doubt the impact that had on him. During his tenure as president, he created 23 new national monuments and protected more land in this country than any other president in history. So for you future park rangers here today, please realize and remember, there's that little 10-year-old girl walking down the beach and she finds a seashell and is fascinated by it. She asks mom or dad, what creature lived in this? Maybe they find a ranger who asks them, and they ask to find out what kind of creature lived in it. And she giggles and laughs and learns from that experience. Or that little 6-year-old boy who catches his first fish in a park, and he sits there holding that wiggling fish with a grin from ear to ear. He goes home and begs his mom and dad to take him back to a park to catch another fish. work will help create, provide, and protect that experience. You must realize you will be changing people's lives for the better every day and changing their lives forever. For maybe, just maybe, that little girl or that little boy will grow up with a fondness of parks, grow up with a little wilderness in their hearts. Maybe they will join a conservation group, volunteer at a park, or maybe, just maybe, they'll grow up to be the President of the United States. The impact you make as a park ranger on those visitors, that will make a difference. You will change the world, and you will change the world for the better. As we celebrate this 107th year of the National Park Service, it is important to realize that the national parks and the state parks represent the best of this country. They epitomize this country's democracy, as they are open and available for the enjoyment by all peoples of this nation and all nations, regardless of race, religion, economic status, or whether you're from a blue state, red state, or purple state, it doesn't matter. The national parks are open. Cadets, please stand. So for you graduates, it is important for you to remember these things, the things that you have been taught here. Remember the park rangers who have come before you. Honor those who died while wearing this park ranger hat, all of whom were carrying out their duties of protecting grizzly bears in mountains, forests, and ocean beaches, of protecting the historic and cultural sites that define the history of this nation, and of protecting the visitors of generations past, present, and future. I hope each of you from this point forward can live up to their professionalism and those ideals. Each of you have worked very hard to get here. Go out, wear your uniform with pride, stand tall, and be proud. Rangers, attend high. Park class, number 40, dismissed.
Dr. Pete.